Good evening. It is Thursday, April 18th, 5:45. We are here in the Nashua North Boardroom, Nashua High North Boardroom. I now call to order this meeting of the Curriculum Instruction Committee. Present with us, well, I'll do the roll. Ms. Gilio,
Here.
Ms. Prin,
Here.
and with us we have Dr. Assistant Superintendent Sarfty, who has a series of presentations. We're going to begin with a group from Nashua High South. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. Tonight we have Jamie Healy with us. He is our advanced manufacturing teacher, and he is going to introduce his team, and they're going to deliver a little presentation.
Thank you, everybody, for having us again. Wait a minute, let me make this thing taller. I'll be fine. Thank you for everybody for having us again here. Before my class starts presenting stuff that they did, there's a couple of things that I would like to point out. One of the people that I brought is Jack right there. He's a member of our robotics team, which is a fantastic program. He's also a member, he's a CAD person, so he takes one of our CT classes there. And what was the other one? Construction
tech.
So he actually takes two other CTE programs, but has crossed paths with mine via the robotics program. So that'll show you some of the broadness that we actually have. I brought another ELO student right there to the right of you. That's Joey. He makes sure the E-Wing has lots of anvil sounds. He sits there and beats on an anvil in my back room for hours a day, and I don't mind. He makes some awesome jewelry and stuff like that. He brought some things with you to show you some of his handiwork. And that's not really something that's part of our normal program. He actually wrote his own ELO. The look on his face when I told him, no, you got to write that. I just sign here. And he was like, what? And he sat down and he wrote an outline. He did all this work and everything, and he got it approved. And there he is. He's doing a great job. So he'll be able to answer some questions on forging and things like that. The other three characters that I got with me right there, they was key in making this whole entire like shelf and stuff like that. They made those parts. So this time, it's not me going, well, I made the parts that they designed. I didn't do that. We walked through all the steps. We designed it. We broke stuff. We junked stuff. We did all that process. It's together, but it's not 100%. We need hardware, different hardware, and we need to tweak it a little bit. But that's just a part of engineering something. So we're 95% done, but at least they can give you a demonstration on it and things like that. Our other CTE programs are awesome. And I know it's like great for me to be here and everything, but like our video production team, they filmed all of our stuff for our showcase and stuff. And then our CAD program, who just competed and took 3 out of the top 4 spots. You know what I mean? Like, so they could just as easily be up here bragging about their program. So I'd like to give them props before we begin, if that's okay. Like I said, there's Kevin, Jack, Andrew, Riley, and Joey. All right? You guys take it away, explain this thing, all right? And relax, have some fun.
So first off, I'd just like to say that I'm extremely happy and excited that we were able to work with such a great department. I haven't been at the school all that long, but in the short time I've been there, it seems like they really care about the special education department, and that's something that is very important to me. As I feel like a lot of programs, the special education department's very underrepresented and doesn't get the support it needs. So I'm excited to help present this project that Mr. Healy over here came up with. And so the cart is held, just start explaining. The cart is held together by a locking mechanism that the two plates I'll just get them show 'em.
I actually did not come up with this project. If you guys remember correctly, we came up and displayed, like, showed you guys the handle and stuff. They came along and said, "Can you build a top shelf for us?" Because they use this cart for like field trips and things like that, but they also use it to haul things with around and everything. So I said, "Yeah, we could build you a top shelf." So this was a request. This wasn't like a project that I planned up. These guys designed it.
Oh my god. So, oh my god. So as you can see, the plates slide together. So obviously, carry things like laundry baskets, or so they don't have to carry it with them. They can just put it around top of there, put things inside, whatever they want to do. Made sure it wasn't sharp so they don't cut themselves. Obviously, that's a big, important piece of it too. As you can see, this little slides. Cut down on me. There's a locking pin that slides in and out, and it just collapses. You can put whatever you want in there, like let's say you need to do like 2 loads of laundry or whatever. Put one basket in there, one basket on top, push it around. Takes like instead of like 3 or 4 people, however many it would take. It only takes one. Way less effort, way more convenient. Uh, that's really about it. I mean, I'll just let Riley over here explain the rest, but
All right, so each of us here, me, Kevin, and Andrew, had a big part that we had to work on for this project. I personally worked on the hinges. So for the hinges, what I had to do was I had to 5-side it, which means that I have to use a vise to make sure it's level, and then I just keep it there for the rest of the cut. I just move the end mill around it, shave off the parts I need to on top of that, and then once I'm done with that, I can then switch it and then shave off the bottom. And it's a lot more efficient. And thanks to Mr. Healy for teaching me that, because that saved a lot of time. The hinges are 2 separate pieces put together by a bolt, and they connect to a third piece that Kevin worked on, and that itself connects to the big plates. So, Kevin, what did you work on?
Okay, I worked on the hinges that go onto the shelves. So, so with the hinges that go on the shelves, I did the same process of what Riley did. It wasn't that different. I really suck at this. Basically all I got.
all right. So I worked on the locking mechanism, like what this piece that slides in between the locking pins and keeps the shelves like up in that, so they can like put laundry baskets or whatever on top. Really, it was easy to make. You just kind of you rough cut it, which is just like take like I don't know. It was like what 500,000. So we had to take not 500,000, 100,000 off, whatever, on one side, 200 on one other, on the other, and really it was just drill some holes. I don't know. It was. I can go into in depth about the process, but we'll save that for a little later.
I'm actually very happy with the way this thing came out. Watching these guys go through, me writing stuff on my whiteboard every day, my whiteboard grew and grew and grew. And I had the whole whiteboard full of different views for different parts in different colors and different students working on all of these things. And they used to just sit there and look at me like, where are you getting these numbers from? And now they're all cleared off, although because we erased them as we could, they're all cleared off, and that's the end result. Now, we have a few paperweights around. That's okay. We have a few end mills that started out in one piece, but they're not in one piece anymore. But that's okay too, because that's learning. The process that these guys learned is that's what it's all about. And this cart right here will be used for like ever. They use it for field trips and everything else. That's what holds all the medication and stuff like that for the special education people when they're on their way. So it's a very valuable thing, and it works as a cover and everything else. And it's actually a quality piece of engineering. Um, he does the same thing. Jack does the same thing. He engineers stuff and everything else. And part of the robot team, we built these fantastic arms, and it went through just as much engineering as this project did. Even though it was outside of my classroom, it still happened. Like our first robotics program is great. We need more support in that too. If anybody wants to help, this is being live streamed. Yeah, come on in and help. Sponsors always welcome. Things like that. But these guys are like, it's awesome the stuff that they do. My friend Joey down there. How many blacksmiths do you guys know? Not many. The world ain't making many more either. And when he came along, showed me his welds. This is how this all started a long time ago. And I start cutting his welds in half so he could inspect them, because that's a real good way to actually see what your weld is. It may look good from the outside, but you cut it in half and find holes. And that's how our relationship started. Then he started going, you got any scrap metal that I can weld with? And you got to feed the need. So that's how we got together. Now he wants to do forging. So I was like, okay. So he's literally training himself to be a blacksmith using our facilities and our books and all the stuff and the knowledge. I'm not a blacksmith, but I have some knowledge of it. So I help him out the best I can and stuff like that. But all of these trades are like so important for the world. We have to keep going. And the only last thing that I would like to say is that how come we can get scholarships to go to college, but there's not many scholarships to go to a trade school? Why is that not possible? Like you look around, you can't find scholarships to go to a trade school. What would happen if you sent somebody that wanted to be a plumber to school? You got another plumber. I mean, college is important, college is great, and college is for some people, but college is not for everybody. The trades are needed people too, and there's a group of people that it's just as important as it is to go to college. So if somebody really wants to fix something, we should start fixing things like that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to these guys. They're characters, I told you. That's okay. They keep it interesting, and they make my day great. So any questions you have, go ahead, hit them with them.
I do want to hear, can we hear from Joey, and can we also hear from Jack a little bit about their experiences? Do you want to talk to us, Joey?
Sure. So, as Mr. Healy has said earlier, I met him through asking him tips on welding, how I can get better. After I had finished an internship at an exhaust shop, I had started harassing him about scrap metal. So, started hanging around him a lot more, got talking, showed me about an ELO. He told me about ELOs that I could start doing on my own for credit at the school. And through blacksmithing, I have started making rings, necklaces, bookkeepers, like pretty much anything you can think of, bracelets too. Have quite a few rings that I've made. I don't know if you want to pass these around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just talk a
So almost all of the nail rings that I make are made of nails, either carpentry nails, framing nails, anything I can get. I flatten them out with a 2-pound ball peen hammer. Then I take them over to the horn of the anvil to get them bent into shape. Then I use a mandrel that I got from my crafts teacher to make them rounded. I've been messing around with different designs as well as trying to use an acetylene torch to get some nice color for the heat treating of the steel. Yes?
So my great grandfather was a blacksmith in Nova Scotia. Okay. Do you do anything with horses?
I do not.
You don't do horseshoes, no. Okay. And then the second thing I just wanted to say is that when I was younger, I took courses in silversmithing. So I made a lot of jewelry out of silver instead that was very similar to this. And you just spoke about a lot of the tools that you needed, like an anvil and a mandrel and all of these things. And just a few years ago, I realized that if something happened to me, my kids would just throw all that stuff out, not knowing what it was. And I did find, I wish I had thought of calling Nashua first, but I ended up finding a school in Manchester, an art school in Manchester, that said that they were desperate for tools so I loaded everything in a truck and took it out to them, and I guess they're using them. But this looks very much like the silver rings that I made back in the day, which I don't do anymore. Nice job.
I am Jack Goodwin. I am involved with 3 different CTE courses. I've always kind of been a handyman and a craftsperson. I've been doing woodworking and carpentry for probably going around 8 years now. And I'm a senior. We have plenty of really amazing opportunities. I was just on a field trip for most of today for construction tech, where we went out to Methuen construction job site in Mass, and I got to see everything they work. They got to explain what they do, how they do it, the benefits, and there's some really nice benefits with these programs. And they kind of in these my programs intermix with each other. Like I was just handed a set of drawings at the job site today that I know how to read most of it because of CAD class, and we do get to do some very cool things through all of mine. My favorite things I've done is I built a desktop in this was wood too, but I fixed my dad's dresser entirely as a side project during construction tech this year. Um, CAD class this year, we brought 9 students to skills, 7 of them placed on the podium. CAD class is a little more different. It's not as hands-on, but I've learned how to read drawings. I personally have done a little extra out of class, so I know 6 CAD softwares now. We're working on a children's toy project now, which is really cool. For manufacturing, I'm involved through robotics. It's my second year in robotics, and TJ came in as a new teacher this year, and I was in charge of the design process of hangers, and the manufacturing class allowed me to actually make something out of metal because we can only cut straight lines and poorly accurate holes in a piece of metal. So with the new tools and the machinery that advanced manufacturing was able to provide to us, I was able to, within 4-ish weeks, we were able to make a fully working hanger, which held up around 120 pounds, but nothing was going to destroy it. That's all I could think of.
I did just want to highlight a couple of things. So when we think about application of skills, I think we heard a lot tonight about how all of these guys are applying math skills every single day. When we are in science class, we're cultivating young scientists, young engineers, and I think that we're seeing the application of science and engineering practices here today as well. Additionally, when we think about our ELA classes, we're preparing kids to become proficient communicators. So we are hearing that today, right? Speaking and listening, reading and writing. These are all skills that we are seeing come alive in the CTE program. The other thing I just want to say is my daughter was a student at Sauhegan High School, and she benefited from coming to our CTE program. And I think anybody who knows me knows that I can't say enough as a parent about the experience that she had. And Andrew here, I know Andrew really well. He's in my back seat quite a bit because our kids play football together. And so Andrew's going to just talk for 1 second about what the experience has been coming from Sauhegan to this program.
Yeah, I guess you can say it's kind of like a culture shock of sorts. It's kind of Sauhegan's a small little like campus. It's like what? I don't know how many feet, but probably like I don't know. You could take like a few dozen steps and be from one building to the other. It's kind of I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. You have to like go through it, I guess. So like, but I mean, it's been great. Honestly, it's been phenomenal being able to like come down and meet like all these people, all these great people up here with me today. Especially you, Riley. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I think everyone should do it. I'm trying to become the CT ambassador of Sauhegan of sorts. It's not an official title yet, but it's gonna be. It's gonna be. Yeah, I'll talk with Tim about that one. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been phenomenal, and I would just love to thank you and all the people around me right now for allowing me to have the opportunity to go and learn about, what my dad's been doing his entire life. And I've always been interested in manufacturing since I was a little kid, like working machines and metal. And I mean, the closest thing we ever had was a woodworking class of sorts, and it was just kind of bad, I guess. So yeah, I'm very thankful that my dad, found another passion, for teaching, coaching, which has rubbed off on me and allowed me to try and educate other people on like spread the word, I guess, about like not only like our program and our like trade, I guess, but just trades in general and be kind of an ambassador as well for the trades because it's very important. I mean, you need plumbers, you need electricians, you need, as I said already, you need people to do these things, and without them, like the world would not run as effectively as it does. So I'm, yeah, just very thankful. That's all.
So I think he touched on it. This is a family affair. So Kim is one of my admin assistants, and she's crying in the audience right now. Kim Healy. Jamie Healy is our teacher, and Andrew Healy is one of our students. So it is definitely a family affair. Love it. But mom is crying. That's adorable. All right. So does anybody have any questions for these guys?
I just want to comment on the camaraderie I mean, it looks, you guys are such a unit, and I mean, and no matter how big your school is, if you can find that small group that you belong to that shares your passions, that's what makes education fun. So I'm really happy to see that with all of you.
I just add something real quick. I just want to touch on that actually. Thank you for bringing that up. I think that has to do with it's a niche. It's a niche. A lot of people don't quite understand like machining and like they just think it's, cut metal, whatever. As much as like a lot of being around machinists, a lot of them joke about like I've heard at least some joke about how they're all like, just kind of like dumb grunts. They're not, obviously. They're very smart. They're intelligent, obviously. And I think that that camaraderie, as you put it, comes from almost I don't know. It comes from being this like small group of like you've similar passion, similar interest, and it's something that not a lot of people can do. So it's tough. It's definitely a tough job to have, but a tough field to be in. But I think that's where a lot of it comes from is the respect of like being able to do it and being able to put up and put through with it. But yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up again.
Thank you guys so very much. I'm so happy that you came back tonight and love the progress on that cart. It's really impressive.
Oh, yeah, my question is, what's written on the top? It's at something education, special education. Okay, that's all I needed to know. It's really nice script.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. All right, hopefully you come back, okay? You have your rings, okay?
Not this year, though. We're done with presentations for this year. I'm tired, okay?
All right, next year, we'll bring you back next year. Thank you guys. Andrew, I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
You definitely will.
Thank you, guys. All right, so next up, we have Chris Murphy with us from the Nashua Public Library. And Chris has been a great partner to us, and she's going to talk a little bit about that partnership.
Excellent. Thank you for having me tonight. I am here to talk about the Nashua Public Library and Nashua School District collaborations and different avenues that we have for that. Just a little quick about me, because I have not met any of you before. I'm Chris Murphy. I'm the children's librarian at the Nashua Public Library. I've been working in libraries for over 18 years.
You've met me. I've been there many times. There with
Yes.
the kids.
I was going to say, I know you. Just the general you. I have been an MLIS, a Master's in Library Information Sciences librarian holder for over 6 years from an ALA accredited program. After I obtained my MLIS, I became the Youth Services Reference Librarian. And I, in addition to coordinating our programming, doing a bunch of outreach with community organizations and outreach with the Nashua School District, I order our juvenile nonfiction, our picture book collection, and 3 other collections within the library, so the majority of the children's realm. So talking about how we can support educators, there's a multitude of ways that we can do this to ensure that both educators and students thrive within this district. The most important are laid out here. We have information literacy sessions for educators, creation of text sets that support the curriculum, database exploration and instruction for educators and students alike, student trips to the library with guided tours and assistance in selecting materials, library card drives for all students and educators within the district, and removal of barriers for students to increase access to materials. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not. So the first thing that we could do is information literacy. These sessions, defined by the ALA, the American Library Association, is that information literacy is a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. Basically, these information literacy sessions are used to teach educators and students alike how to find credible information and how to become critical thinkers. One of the big ways that I was talking to Dr. Sarfty about was text set creation. I know that the Nashua School District is currently piloting the Amplify curriculum in several of the schools. One way that we aim to support the educators here is to provide text sets to go along with the specific units of the program. I have a couple of examples. I tried to put them as basically as possible to create supplemental text sets. It was easy for me because this curriculum has its own checklists and predicted outcomes. So if a teacher were to come to me and say, Chris, I'm working on grade 1, domain 6, that's astronomy. What can you make happen? I look and I say, let's look at the craft and the structure part. Listen to, understand, and recognize a variety of texts, including fictional stories, fairy tales, etc. So trying to differentiate between all of those and the books that give information. So here's a sample text set. I didn't want to bombard this with as many books as I could fit in, so I put in a great selection for grade 1 students. We have Comet Chaser, which is a nonfiction title. It is a thrilling and beautifully illustrated biography of a woman who made a lifetime of incredible contributions to science. She was the first woman to discover a comet, the first to officially be recognized in a scientific role, and the first to be given a gold medal by the Royal Astronomical Society. And I do want to mention that all of these descriptions have been taken from our catalog from Circe Dynex. I did not write them. The next thing is a book that you've probably seen around the area. It is one of the story walk books that Nashua and all of New Hampshire is engaging in right now. It is called The Thing to Remember About Stargazing. This is a fiction title. It is, what is the most important thing to remember about stargazing? When to do it, who to do it with, dot, 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 dot. But when it comes down to it, it's just to have fun. Next, we have a ready to read title. This is great for a level 3 reader, so about a first to second grade reader. It says, become an expert on the stars in the sky with this fact-tastic nonfiction level 3 ready to read book, part of a series about the science of fun stuff. So this is all about stargazing. I did not know myself that there was something called hairy stars. It is exciting. This looks to a lot of children like it is a fiction title. However, when you read it, it is in fact nonfiction. And finally, I have a read aloud book called A Pizza with Everything on It. This is fiction. A kid wants to make a pizza with his dad, but not just any pizza. He wants a pizza with everything on it. That's right, everything. But as the toppings pile on, this father-son duo accidentally create a pizza so delicious, so over the top, that it destroys the universe. And the cosmos go as dark as burnt crust. So it does touch on different topics that are discussed in the curriculum checklist. It has the vocabulary words in it, but it is a silly little book as a read aloud. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, it's great. It's easy to find stuff for younger audiences. Alas, here's a request from a fourth grader who says, Chris, can you help me create a text set for grade 4, unit 5? And that is geology. So I pulled up the core content objectives for this, and we want to be able to define geography. We want to have observations scientists made that prove changes, evidence changes of Earth's surface, to explain continental drift, to identify the Earth's layers and the characteristics, explain plate tectonics, and explain seafloor spreading. So here we have our text set that would support this. So we have a nonfiction title list here. I do have some fiction titles as well. They were a little bit more obscure, so I figured I'd stick with the exciting but still fact-heavy information that is required. I have Discoveries in Earth and Space, a nonfiction title that says students often take for granted that many of the basic principles of science we study today were once major discoveries that revolutionized the way humans view our planet. That has some really interesting facts in it. Next is my new favorite, Hands-On Geology. It is a nonfiction picture book. So in this interactive picture book, readers push, press, and pound rocks on the edge of the page, using their imagination to explore. They learn about the different types of rocks, the structure of the earth, and how we as humans use rocks and minerals. The back matter of this book includes experiments for investigating the hardness of rocks. That is an exciting book for me. My mother went to school for geology. I brought this home to her and I said, how cool is this book? And she said, it is actually factual. So that was good. We also have a book on plate tectonics, and it provides a comprehensive information on the theory of plate tectonics and how it affects our lives today. It does mention Pangea, and it talks about the mid-ocean rift. And then lastly, I have a picture book nonfiction title, which is a read aloud that is great for this age range. From a young age, Mary Tharp loves watching the world. She loved solving problems, and she loved pushing limits of what girls and women were expected to do and to be. In the mid 20th century, women were not welcome to become scientists, but Mary was tenacious. She got a job in the New York laboratory, and she discovered major things about the mid-ocean rifts. Another way that we would be able to support the Nashua School District, both for students and for educators alike, would be through database exploration. We have 4 databases that are designed specifically for K to 8 and the students and teachers, from looking up items in Explora, which is an experience from EBSCO, which many of you are probably used to. We have the Novelist K to 8 Plus, and that will help you be able to find books either through theme setting, series, favorite authors, titles, and read-alikes. Canopy to help you find videos and movies to show in the classroom or to help expand upon your texts, and Tumble Books that are ebooks for kids without having to download any apps. I also encourage everybody within the district to take advantage of trips to the library. As of today, I've interacted with 850 students this school year alone in the Nashua School District, both inside of my library and school visits throughout the year. The library is centrally located within walking distance of 4 of the schools here in Nashua. And pre-COVID, we would have monthly trips to the library, both with walking students and bus students, often coming to the library to work on specific projects or for enrichment purposes. Here you can see somebody made us a makerspace activity because the library has a dedicated kindergarten through 5th grade makerspace, and they made a Quidditch example with our building straws, which is pretty great. Specifically, I can remember our 4th graders here in Nashua would come and do their biography project. We would have about 2 weeks notice that they would be coming, and we would be told, all right, pull aside the popular people and be ready for the obscure questions. And we would have entire schools, 4th grade, come to the library, do story time, a puppet show, and pick out multiple books on their topic of choice for this project. Another thing that we do is we offer library cards for everyone. So at the beginning of the school year, a request for library cards for students and educators goes out to every librarian within the district. They are bombarded with emails from me throughout the year about our exciting programs, ways that I can help them with their classroom, and all of the stuff going on at the library. So library cards are available for students over the age of 5 for free with the signature of a parent or a caregiver as a responsible party. The schools and the library coordinate this effort so that nothing needs to be brought to the library for reference, no parents need to be brought to the library for reference, and all cards are distributed through their teachers. At the Mount Pleasant Year of the Book Celebration, we issued 65 library cards to students with the help of Miss Belanger. And lastly, we removed some of the barriers that were hindering our patrons. Most notably, we removed all fines for overdue items at the library as of January 1st, 2023. Fines affected over 40,000 of our library card holders. All overdue fines on accounts have been forgiven. Yes, all of them. That doesn't mean that if you lose an item, you don't have to pay for it. It is just for late overdue items. If you bring a book back that has been out since 2012, we will still forgive those fees, don't you worry. So, why would we do this? Overdue fines are counterintuitive and act as demotivators for people to return their items for general use of services in the library, acting as one of the largest barriers for underserved populations in our community. Pardon me. And the result, books are being returned, even ones from years ago. Children and families are returning to the library and can borrow items again without worrying that they've hit their fine limit. And in general, this has become a more welcoming and less stressful experience for people who avoid attending programs and using our resources due to the implications of feeling like they would be singled out and thinking, oh, they're going to say, you owe me $7.58. So it has absolutely helped us, and I'm sure it is absolutely helping the students here in Nashua. Anybody have any questions for me?
I'm a retired school librarian.
Yes.
So,
That's
yes.
what she was beaming.
I was going to say, I like the
Yes.
enthusiasm.
But I just want to say that I get a weekly email about the programs that are going on at the library, and it is amazing what you're offering to the community. It is just, I'm astounded by what's available, and I really do appreciate it. I know a lot of us do, and I'm a frequent, I don't buy books anymore at all. I'm at the library every 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
And my grandson, at the age of 5, couldn't wait to get his library card. It was like a big day in his life, so.
Oh yeah, we want to be able to have everybody using the library as early and as often as possible. So even if you are poor and can't get your library card, I'd still love to see you. Once you turn 5, the excitement really begins.
Thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just curious for the text sets. Are there enough text sets for different schools? Or like, say, for example, I teach 4th grade at Sunset Heights and I, borrow something. Is there enough books for like another 4th grade teacher?
So the great thing about the text sets, that's an awesome question, by the way, is that I curate them myself. So I won't say, oh, these are the 4 books that support this. And, this person has them checked out. So you're going to have to be on hold for 3 weeks. I'll look at it and I'll say, what do we have in our collection that can support your materials? And I will go through and I will handpick several titles, put them aside, and make sure that they are up to the teacher's specifications, their needs, and that they do in fact support what they are looking for.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Can I just add something really quickly? So what's really vital about these text sets, I know we've talked a little bit about how do we serve our multilingual learners and how do we serve our students who maybe have some reading goals, who have some unfinished learning. And what's so great about this is these text sets can start, even just like a picture book, right? Or a work of fiction to introduce key vocabulary words and to give kids exposure. And then we can build on to maybe a work of fiction that's up here. But these are accessible books for a lot of children. And then by exposing kids to the content, the vocabulary at increasing complexity levels, which essentially is what Chris has provided to us today, then when students come to the core content, like the regular grade level lesson, it's not like this content, these words are so unfamiliar. Kids already have entry into the content because they've been exposed to it. So I just wanted to highlight just what a great resource this is and how valuable, it is to Nashua that we have somebody like Chris who's willing to do this with us.
Oh, absolutely. It makes my day when I have an educator anywhere in the school district or from any of the daycare centers or the alternative schools reach out to me and say, I have a big unit that I'm working on with my students. Is there any way that you can support this? And I say, absolutely. When do you need it by? Because I can have it done in an hour. And they're like, not that soon, but thank you.
I just had a quick, I always say that and then I take forever. Sorry.
No worries.
There was a time when the library worked with some national tutoring group and students could call in, they could log in and.
Yes. So that was called, I want to say Homework USA or something along those lines. That was in 2014. We no longer were subscribing to that.
Wow.
It was around when I started at the Nashua Public Library in 2012. But the use of in-person tutors really impacted how people were using virtual tutors. And then the pandemic happened and everything switched back to online. So we don't currently offer that, but I can take feedback to try and find an alternative to it.
That might be later. And as the son of a librarian, career librarian, thank you for all you do. And
Oh,
I'll
thank
be
you.
sure to tell her about your presentation.
Oh, thank you so much. I really
you.
appreciate that.
I don't want you to leave yet because
Okay.
I want to actually share some good news.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think I know what I can hear. Okay, so I do have an announcement because I will be looking for a motion, just throwing that out there. And the announcement is this. Sunset Heights Elementary School and Ledge Street Elementary have been selected as recipients of the prestigious Cliff Children's Literacy Foundation Year of the Book Award. This esteemed recognition bestowed upon schools demonstrating exceptional dedication to fostering literacy and educational enrichment marks a significant milestone in the district's ongoing commitment to academic excellence and community engagement. The Year of the Book Award is a testament to the collaborative efforts and exemplary leadership of Stacy Grigas Lewis and Damon Klempner. Wow, those names. Whose dedication, they are both librarians, along with the collective efforts of the staff at Sunset Heights Elementary and Ledge Street, was instrumental in successfully navigating the rigorous application process. But here's the part where you come in, Chris. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to all who contributed, including administrators, teachers, parents, community members, and a special acknowledgement to Chris Murphy from the Nashua Public Library. I won't read the rest of the release, but I will say that Chris's support for our applications really went a long way. I will also say that Danielle Wells from Bicentennial worked really closely with me to write an application or to go through the application process for Bicentennial. Unfortunately, Bicentennial did not qualify because they don't meet the free and reduced lunch numbers. We really tried to make a strong argument. But Bicentennial will be, they will be awarded some smaller grants. But when we start our planning for these two schools to carry out the Year of the Book grant, Chris will be a really big part of that. I don't know if you want to say.
Yeah, sure. So I am absolutely thrilled for Damon and for Stacy because this is an amazing thing. We will be able to help them by helping them select their big performers that they have, their author visit that they will have, and we will help select some of the titles of books that they get. The library also gets books, so I am excited for this. And I will be there to support them with any sort of school visits that they wanted and anything else that they need.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So these grants are valued at $25,000. And so essentially what I would be looking for tonight is a motion to accept the $25,000 Year of the Book grants for Sunset and also for Ledge Street Elementary.
So moved.
Second. Oh. Do we need to say the verbiage? I don't know. We do it this way at our
tried to write
meetings,
it
though.
down. So I'd ask for a motion to accept. Was it 25,000 for each school?
Each school.
Okay, so I'd be looking for a motion to accept the $25,000 Year of the Book grant for each school. That would be Sunset Heights and Ledge Street Elementary School.
So moved.
Second.
And now for the final passage.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay. Congratulations to Sunset Heights and to Ledge Street. Yay.
Could I just add that that we were invited because Mount Pleasant got this award for this past school year, and we were invited. The board members were invited to go to their author visits and see, and the children all got to pick, I think, 2 books each while they were there, and I was able to go to, I think, 2 of them this year, and the excitement, it's incredible. It's an amazing program, and I think it's really great that 2 more schools are going to be able to.
Yeah, so you said you went to Mount Pleasant this year.
Yeah.
Did you go to the author visit?
I did. I went to
with
2 of them.
Matt Forrest Assenswine?
Yeah, there was the dinosaur guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually was featured in the book that I had up there, the Stargazing book. He was great. I saw him at a conference. I was actually at that school visit. I had to have my then supervisor come with me because I had lost my voice 3 days prior, speaking to every second grader at Maine Dunstable and doing a story time and puppet show with them. So absolutely worthwhile to lose my voice during that, and seeing the happiness on all the kids' faces as they were able to do those things. It was just amazing. So
There also is a summer readers program, or summer readers grant rather, that is available to any program that takes place in the Nashua School District. So Janelle Archer is applying for one of those grants. I know that some other community organizations are also applying for those grants, so definitely good things. Thank you. Have your flash, right? Okay, awesome. All right, so tonight we were, well, not were, because the date changed, I actually made a little video with our friends from tutor.com. I know that Mr. Claffey probably is going to have some questions, so I'm ready for you, Mr. Claffey. But first, I want to play the video so that I can let everybody know a little bit about tutor.com. So tutor.com is a service that has been provided free from the by the Department of Education. Last year, we had just kind of heard about it starting in late March, and we had about 20 students participate in tutoring sessions. This year, from September to March, we've had about 100 students from Nashua participate in tutoring sessions. And I'm going to shut the lights off so that we can watch the presentation, and then you can learn a little bit more about the services that are provided, and then answer any questions.
Within the Nashua School District, our partner with.
Sorry. All right, let's try here.
The state of New Hampshire. If you give me just a moment, I'm going to share some slides. We're going to run through.
It's not going to be 16 minutes. Don't you worry. I'm just going to bar it down. I don't know what all that recording is. There we go.
Those. So give me just 1 second here. Hopefully everyone can see this. Tutor.com, Princeton Review. I work with our K-12 partnerships and have been working very closely with our partnership with the state of New Hampshire since its inception in September of 22. I have with me my colleague Dana Moore, and I'll let her introduce herself briefly.
Hi, my name is Dana Moore. As Noah mentioned, I work very closely with him in the New Hampshire program, and I support all things related to the K-12 implementations and presentations. So happy to be here.
Thank you. All right, and let's dive right in. So we're here to talk to you about our partnership with the state that provides no-cost access to 24/7, 361 days a year, live one-to-one tutoring through the tutor.com platform for all students in grades 4 through 12. So the main aspect of our platform and this partnership is, of course, the one-to-one tutoring. It's always one-to-one. It's always a real person. It's not AI. It's not chat-based. And these are very, very well vetted experts in their areas, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But in addition to the tutoring, we're actually a service of the Princeton Review. And as such, students also have access to the Princeton Review's self-paced test prep for digital SAT, ACT, and AP. And we know how important that is, especially with the digital SAT for all of the juniors in the state. So we're really excited to be able to offer them unlimited access to those test prep materials as well. And then, it's not all just strictly, the traditional academic side. We want to make sure that we're supporting these students all the way around. And that's everything from college readiness, student success, as well as job and career readiness. So really excited. We're going to give you a very brief overview in the interest of time today, but really, really excited to continue supporting students all throughout the state. So why tutor.com? Always seems to be a great place to start. And the biggest thing that, kind of guides everything that we do is we want to make sure that we're allowing these students to continue to have that growth mindset. And the idea that kind of runs through everything that we do is this idea that the one who does the work does the learning. And that's very important. We are not an answer giving service. We are here to support these students and make sure that they can grow their skills and grow their confidence. And so the statistics and the quotes that you see here on this page come from across our K-12 partnerships and are very indicative of what we actually see all throughout the state of New Hampshire. Biggest question, we really get is who are these tutors? We know that educators work so hard to support their students, and it's very important to know who these folks are that will be working with these students when they do need support and they hopefully don't have access to their teachers 24/7. To give you a little bit idea of what our onboarding process is like, each year we get somewhere between 100 and 150,000 folks who reach out who are interested in becoming tutors with us. Of that number, about 23% meet our minimum qualifications. Um, Next, all applicants who have met those minimum qualifications must pass very stringent subject matter exams. So these tutors, we're making sure that they truly are experts in their area. Tutors can qualify to tutor in more than one subject, but they do need to pass those subject exams for each area that they would like to tutor. And so it's about 7.2% of that original number that move on to those subject exams. Then there's a one-on-one interview. It's about 2.5% of that original pool of applicants. And at the end of the day, it's about 1.3% that are actually onboarded and begin tutoring. All of that is in addition to, of course, education verifications and very stringent background checks at the local, state, and federal level. And those background checks are ongoing. It's not just upon hire. So again, we just want to make sure we've got the best, most qualified folks working with your students and supporting them. So what do they do? We offer one-to-one tutoring in over 200 subject areas. You can see many of those listed here. It's really important to remember that this isn't just for students who are struggling. This is also for those students who are excelling. We offer tutoring in all of the advanced subjects as well as the study skills coaching like we talked about a moment ago. You also may notice that there's an asterisk next to math, science, social sciences, and study skills. Those areas are actually areas that we have bilingual Spanish speaking tutors. So any of your Spanish speaking students can actually connect and receive that support in their native language should they want to. Next,
So,
pass it
go
over to
ahead.
Dana.
So once students are actually ready to use the platform, there are a variety of resources that they can access. This is the most common with the on-demand tutoring. So when students are inside the platform, they will be met with this pre-session questionnaire, and they'll just have to answer a few questions to include what language would they like to connect with their tutor, so they can choose English or Spanish. They'll choose their topic and subject, grade level if appropriate, and then they can decide how they want to interact with the tutor. So they can do chat only or chat with voice. There is no video option just for security and privacy reasons. If they have a question or a concern that they want to propose at the beginning of the session, they can enter that into the box right there where it says question, and they can also attach a file if there's a particular assignment that they're working on. Once they're ready, they can click the Connect Now button, and they will just be put in the queue to connect with the tutor. The average wait time is less than a minute. Once inside the classroom, there are many different tools that both the tutor and the student will have access to. So it's an interactive whiteboard that includes a variety of drawing and writing tools. They can paste or import images. They can change the background if they like. They can drag and drop formulas, shapes. There's calculator options to include Desmos. So there's a plethora of resources that they can use within the classroom. Additionally, they can also use web resource sharing. As stated, there's a graphing calculator feature as well as a code editor. They can also do file sharing. So we support a variety of files such as Word, PowerPoint, PDF, even images such as JPEGs, PNGs. And there's also a two-way text editor within the platform. So that way both the tutor and the student can interact with a given text in live time. So that's on the on-demand side, but students will also have access to the drop-off writing review. This is also a 24/7 service, and it is a guaranteed turnaround time of 12 hours or less. So very similar to the on-demand tutoring pre-session survey, they will have a similar form here that they will need to complete and fill in a variety of information. Once that information is submitted, they will get a return of feedback in the form of a rubric, as well as detailed comments. And again, this is a 12 hours or less turnaround time, but the average is usually half that of about 5 hours and 43 minutes.
Yeah, and the other nice thing to keep in mind, again, the one who does the work does the learning. So we're never going to correct these papers for the students. We're going to highlight areas of improvement so that the student can go in and improve their writing themselves and really maintain that student agency.
Great point. So additionally, the students will also have access to a lot of self-paced materials such as practice quizzes. Here, students can choose from a variety of subjects, topics to support additional learning if they feel like they need that. The great thing about this feature is that once students complete a practice quiz, if they have missed questions or they feel like they didn't really do well, they can then connect with a tutor and discuss those questions that they missed to clarify their learning. And finally, they will also have access to SAT and
All right, so I'm going to stop there because I know that Mr. Clappy has some questions. So before we get into the questions, I just want to talk a little bit about the data protection practices. So the first thing is this. Initially, when Tutor.com reached out to me, like a couple years ago when I first started here, or I guess 3 years ago when I started here, I initially said, absolutely not. I don't know how safe your service is, and I was very, very skeptical because, I just am. I come from a law enforcement family. I'm skeptical of all things. However, I learned a little bit more about the company, and I learned through many, many discussions with them about the practices that protect students. So what we didn't hear in there is that every single interaction is logged. Every voice communication is logged verbatim, and any administrator can pull up, and I have access to a dashboard. I can pull up the dashboard. I can see that Neil Claffey at 4:02 p.m. on Wednesday either had a voice chat and or they were, like communicating, like type communicating. Wow, I don't even know what the words are. They were not texting, but they were communicating through, I guess, typed language, and there's a full log of that communication because that was really important to me. It was also very important to me to make sure that the tutor couldn't just like send materials to the student, and they are not able to do that. Everything happens within the portal, so that was really important to me as a parent. Additionally, I know that there is like an opinion piece that is out there because essentially, so Tutor.com is an American company. It started in America. The principal place of business is in New York City, and then also Tutor.com is what's the word I want to use? They have a there we go. So that Tutor.com was acquired in 2022 by an investment fund. They previously were acquired by another investment fund. This investment fund, I guess, like sold the interest to another organization called Primavera Holdings Limited, and that is a company that is out of China. So that is what the concern is from this opinion piece that I read. So I initially, when I read this, I reached right out to Noah, and he let me know that they were aware of this opinion piece. So in response to that, the Tutor.com voluntarily initiated a rigorous federal review by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, called CFIUS, to ensure that stringent safeguards will be put in place to protect customer and student data, and together with mechanisms that provide for constant monitoring and compliance. But they did that voluntarily. In addition to that, what they've always had in place is a legally binding commitment to the U.S. government that Primavera couldn't access any data, any information, and then they go through this very rigorous federal process to make sure that they are monitored and constantly, in compliance with data protection measures. And so I just want to let you know that first. There's this form here for everybody to see. And so I know that you have questions, Neil, and I'm just going to let you take it away.
Thank you. Are our students currently able to use it?
Yes. So this year alone, we had, again, from September to March, we had a little over 100 tutoring sessions. I can say that my child in Amherst has also accessed tutor.com, but really for SAT prep. And, as a family, we found this to be a very valuable resource.
Okay. So yeah, I was reading about concerns that some have about this company's ties to a Chinese venture firm, Primavera. And one of the things I read was that the Florida Commissioner of Education has warned school districts throughout Florida about using tutor.com. And I read that one district has they've ended their contract with tutor.com. And then I also just read that there's a bill was introduced in Congress in the House to ban the use of tutor.com by the DOD. And that bill hasn't progressed far yet, but I just thought, that's not an opinion piece. If the Department of Defense says we have concern, if members of Congress say we have concerns, if the Florida Education Commissioner has concerns.
So I definitely hear what you're saying for sure. And what I'll say is these are concerns, but there's no I guess argument, or there's no claim that any sort of privacy laws have been violated. So I 100% understand what you're saying, and I understand that could potentially be a concern. But one thing I will say is this: I have received letters from the city of Nashua pertaining to my own children and their data being breached because of the cyber attack that we experienced. My son uses tutor.com. I've never received a letter saying that his data could be breached.
And then in this one article I read, this executive director of the National Cybersecurity Alliance, I tried to find out whether they're nonprofit, but she's the executive director, and she's warned about the potential risks and just said, yeah, there's no breaches to date, but why use them if we have other venues? And I know this is something the governor signed a $4.8 million contract about 4 years ago, saying, hey, we want to work with you. And it's not free. It's free to our students, but it's certainly not free if there's $4.8 billion expense. We were presented with another option using these pods, which we shot down. It's not the same thing, but I just have concerns, and thank you for giving me a chance to bring those up here.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand your concerns, and I certainly I would never want to bring something forward that could potentially compromise any student data. That would, I mean, again, I have children who also access these services. I guess all that I can say is I know that tutor.com would be willing to provide us with any documentation, and so I certainly can ask them to go ahead and do that. That's a little bit more formal than just sort of this one pager. That's what I asked them for, so that I could at least speak to the safeguards that they have in place. But I guess, like I said, to date, there are no data breaches, and certainly the fact that the company has any ties at all to China is what the concern is, and I get that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all I have, and it's only 6:51, so we're good.
Be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I second.
It's on.
Second it.
All right, so motion passes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned at 6:53. Thank you.